What's up, everybody? We're back. This is the NFL Picks Predictions, and this is Week 8. If you don't have a magic 8 ball, it's all right. You can rely on us. We're about to give you the answer key, well, hopefully, for Week 8. I'm Matt with Beard Laws, and look at these amazing dudes in the studio. Fellas, why don't you tell them who you are and where they can find you?
I'm Brandon J. McDermott. You can find me over social media at Brandon J. McDermott.
And I'm Matt Brown, and you can find me on social media at the Ohana Jones.
I love this Thursday matchup. I know I'm getting right into it. I just am super excited to finally have a football game that I want to watch. It's the Green Bay Packers traveling to take on the hot Arizona Cardinals, and the Arizona Cardinals are opening at a 6-point favorite.
And we could be seeing the game of the week on Thursday, Matt. As you brought up, it's a great game, a great matchup. Two of the top teams in the league facing off. It is in Arizona, which does give the Cards an edge, but I've learned not to bet against Aaron Rodgers in big regular season games. I'm taking the Pack in an upset.
After what it seems forever, like Thursday night, like you said, will be one to watch. There's uncertainty in Green Bay. I might want to add with Devontae Adams landing on the reserve COVID-19 list to start the week. With that said, I'm naturally going to lean towards the Cardinals, but I do realize that Aaron Rodgers is on the other side.
Like you guys both said, it's tough to bet against Aaron Rodgers here. 6 points. Arizona is on fire. I like how they're playing. They are, in my opinion, one of my favorite teams to watch. They're going to give Green Bay their hands full. I like Arizona here to win and cover that 6-point spread. Let's talk about an AFC East rivalry. You got the Miami Dolphins traveling to the Buffalo Bills Stadium. Buffalo is opening at a huge 13.5-point favorite.
You know, big spread there, obviously, and I'm going to keep it short. The Bills are huge favorites at home against the Dolphins. I really see no reason not to take them big. I do believe Tua will be back, but I'm sticking with the hot Bills at home.
You know, with the amount of doubt surrounding the Bills because of those two unnecessary losses, they still hold the highest average margin of victory this season. And going against a Dolphins team that's in the bottom 3 in that same category, I like the Bills big in this one.
I'm with you guys here. All right, this is going to be the first one we all agree on. I like the Bills coming off that bye week. I think they're just too good. They're too healthy at this point. 13.5 point. I think they win easily and cover that spread. Let's talk about the Carolina Panthers with that shocking loss to the Giants last week, traveling to Atlanta, and they are a 2.5-point favorite at home.
You know, we've seen a lot of these matchups of just not really something you when you see it on paper, you're thinking to yourself, I have to stop everything I'm doing to watch this. And I think this is another one of those. Sam Darnold was benched, and the depleted Panthers are in panic mode. The Falcons, winners of 2 straight, don't actually have the confidence of anybody involved. But at home, I'm taking the Falcons to squeak by with a win and a cover.
The Panthers do look bad, only scoring 3 points against the Giants last week, but I legitimately think that's a fluke and they can bounce back against the Falcons. I don't think Sam Darnold ever wants to see PJ Walker back on the field in his place if he can help it. I'm going to lean towards Carolina here.
I'm going to Atlanta, all right? That city is just excited. You got the Braves in there. The Falcons are like, we got to keep up with the boys. So they're going to come in here, and I think they're going to cover that 2.5-point spread. Next, this is a game that I personally don't have any interest in, but it's the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to the Detroit Lions, and Philadelphia is opening on the road as a 3-point favorite.
Now, the Lions have their backs against the wall and nothing to lose at home. I see them finally overcoming themselves and their knack for finding ways to lose. The Lions win at home.
I think I will agree here. This is the one. I think this is the one that the Lions win for their first one of the season. From their last matchup against the Rams, Detroit had more total yards, almost 100 more rushing yards, averaged more yards per play, only punted once, and possessed the ball more than the Rams. If they can carry that over to the Eagles, who struggled Sunday, I think the Lions could just straight up win.
Let's move on. This red hot Tennessee Titans traveling Indianapolis to take on the Colts, and Tennessee on the road is a 1.5-point favorite.
The Titans' big win against the hurting Chiefs, of course. The Colts, meanwhile, are playing hard. They started the season 0-3, but they've won 3 of their last 4 games. This would be a very big win for them. I see here's a wrestling term for you, a real slobber knocker here on our hands. But I see the Titans winning on the road.
Not many times will I look at a matchup and prefer the team that's 3-4 over the team that's 5-2, but I think that's what I'm going to go for in this one. The Chiefs were able to hold Derrick Henry to under 100 yards rushing. The Colts have a better run defense by a lot. So combine that with the fact that Carson Wentz and company have scored 30 or more points in the last 2 games. I think I lean towards Indy here.
I see this line and I'm like, the Titans are putting up so many points. They're beating great teams. 1.5 is way too low. I think this line is going to move. I like Tennessee with a big win here. That 1.5 point spread, I'm telling you right now, if you can lock it in this early, I think that line is going to move. Look at the Los Angeles Rams traveling to take on the Houston Texans, and the Los Angeles Rams again open at a huge favorite at 14.5 points.
The weekly Texans game. Who do they play and how much are they going to lose by? They've lost 6 straight, including the last 5 by an average score of 30-8. They're playing for a draft spot seemingly and also holding out hope for a decent trade offer for Deshaun Watson. I'm taking the Rams to cover here easily.
The Rams were unable to cover against the Lions, who really showed up to compete this past Sunday. But I mean, like you said, this is the Texans. Despite getting an early safety on Kyler Murray, couldn't add much of anything to the past week. They scored only 5 points. I think this will be a blowout.
This is the second time we're all going to agree on something. I like the Rams. Is this even possible to say? I think Houston might be worse than Detroit. I like the Rams here. Next, we have Cincinnati Bengals coming up, that big win against division rival Baltimore Ravens. They're traveling to a beat up New York Jets in New Jersey. The Bengals are opening on the road as a 9.5 point favorite.
Who are these Bengals? Are they finally the folks who we expected when Burrow was drafted? It could be. We'll take a look and we'll see after a game like this. The Jets just traded for Joe Flacco after Zach Wilson was injured. So obviously I'm taking the Bengals to cover on the road easily.
All I should have to say is that the Jets own a league worst negative 15.8 margin of victory this season. But tack on the fact that their quarterback, Zach Wilson, is probably out for multiple weeks. I expect Cincy to just win big, cover no matter what the line is in this one.
I thought last week the Jets could keep up with New England, and New England scored more points than half of the college basketball teams scored. I like the Bengals, and I like them putting up a lot of points, and they're going to cover that spread. Over to the next game, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Cleveland to take on the Browns, and the Cleveland Browns are a 3.5 point favorite at home.
Big rivalry that Pittsburgh has owned over the last 2 decades. However, the Browns won 2 of the last 3 last year. Pittsburgh isn't as bad as we thought they'd be, but the Browns are fresh off a bounce-back game against Denver. Also, they've got 10 days to prep for this. I'm taking Cleveland to win and to cover at home.
Extra rest for both teams here, and I'm not sure how this will shake out. The Browns might have Nick Chubb back. It makes me think that the Browns will be just too much for even the solid Pittsburgh defense.
Coming off a bye week last week, I think not only will they keep it close, I think they can cover the spread and maybe even get the win here. So I'm liking the Steelers here with 3.5 points. All right, let's talk. The last 1 o'clock game is the San Francisco 49ers heading to Chicago to take on the Bears, and San Francisco is a 3.5 point favorite on the road.
Both of these teams were hammered all over social media this week. Now, one of my favorite parts about football is watching the games. The other favorite part about football is watching all the meme pages during the games and right immediately afterwards. The Niners have lost 4 straight, and the Bears were walloped by the Bucs. I do see a close game here, and the Niners winning, but I don't see them covering.
There just isn't much good in this matchup, looking at how both teams have performed in the recent weeks. All I can really look at is the fact that San Fran is 0-4 against the spread in their last 4, and Chicago is 4-0 against the last spread versus teams with a losing record, and that is definitely the 49ers. For that, I like the Bears in this one.
This game doesn't intrigue me at all. The Bears, Niners, I think I'm just going to flip a coin. Niners. We're going Niners. And we might as well move on to the next one. 105 where Matt is. It's 405 where us. We have the New England Patriots taking on the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Chargers at home opening at a 5.5 point favorite.
A saucy, intriguing matchup, if I do say so. The Pats did to the Jets what they always do. They beat them on the playground and rubbed their faces in the dirt. But now it's back to taking on someone more their speed. In fact, I think the Chargers are a bit better than New England. So, of course, I'm taking the Chargers here. The Chargers are fresh off a bye, and they'll win and cover at home.
I can't believe the work that Bill Belichick and Mac Jones have done already in their short span together. Putting up 54 points is no easy feat, no matter what NFL team they're playing against. But you know what else is no easy feat? Trying to beat the LA Chargers, who are 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games as the home favorite. I expect Justin Herbert to bring those in Boston back down to earth.
I guess it's going to be the third time that we're going to agree. 5.5, I think, is too low for me. I think the Chargers win double digits here at home. Either way, I think it's going to be a pretty good game to watch because I like watching New England lose. Washington football team taking on the Denver Broncos. Broncos. Denver is the home team and is opening at a 3-point favorite. Brandon, what are you thinking about your Denver Broncos?
Well, the Broncos are fresh off a Thursday night egg they laid. Both teams are on losing streaks. The Broncos lost 4 straight. Washington has lost 3 straight. Someone has to win, right? I mean, it could be a tie, technically. And in fact, if it were a tie, it would be justice. But I've learned as a Broncos fan to do exactly what I've done over the last 20 years as a Husker fan, to hide my shame in public. But no more. I'm taking the Broncos, rather, to win and to cover here.
I'm going to go off of the quarterback play just because I think the rest of the positions are fairly even between these two. Taylor Heineke looked pretty okay trying to keep up with Aaron Rodgers and had some touchdowns basically taken away from him. Teddy Bridgewater, I'm sorry, Brandon, on the other hand, has thrown 5 interceptions in his last 3 games. I just have to take Washington here.
Brandon, I'm loving the enthusiasm in his Denver Broncos, and for that, I'm taking them -3. Let's talk about this matchup, though. Brady, he just continues to play all the time. He's half man, half amazing, traveling to New Orleans. Tampa Bay is going to open as a 5-point, you guessed it, on the road favorite.
You know, the Saints are a wild card. They played big games this year, had big wins, and then they tripped up on their own feet. They're seemingly doing that every few weeks. The Bucs, however, are rolling along, and I like them on the road to cover here. That said, I think this is going to be a huge game, and never put one past Sean Payton.
While all the talk can be about Brady and his 600th TD this past weekend, I want to make sure that the Bucs defense gets credit too. 5 forced turnovers, 4 sacks, and holding the Bears to 2 of 11 on 3rd down. So I just want to say that that's the level of defense that is being played along with Tom Brady. So I still think that they can cover against an okay Saints team.
Having Tampa Bay on a couple of fantasy football teams, they've been middle of the road. That was their best performance, and I see it getting just as good, if not better, which is scary for the rest of the league. I'm going to say Tampa Bay, they win, they cover the spread. I mean, you always go with Brady, right? It's kind of a thing. So let's talk Sunday night. If the Dallas Cowboys traveling to Minnesota to take on the Vikings, Skull, Dallas is a 2.5-point, you guessed it, road favorite.
The Vikings have mastered winning close games as of late. Meanwhile, the Cowboys are scoring 10 more points than the Vikings this year. And I don't think any of us are sold completely on the Cowboys. I don't think we will, no matter what the rest of their regular season record is going to be. We won't be sold on them until we see them compete and win in the playoffs. But I expect, as the Cowboys have averaged 10 more points than the Vikings this year, I expect them to win by that margin. 10-point win here over the Vikings.
Both have had extra rest, and I just think Dallas has been too explosive for a team like Minnesota to handle. Plus, the Vikings are 1-6 against the spread in their last 7 home games, so I definitely like Dak and the Cowboys in this one.
We're going to agree again, and maybe for the last time, I like Dallas here. 2.5 points. They've been playing great. They're pretty healthy, and their defense is better than most people thought. I like Dallas here on the road with the victory and covering that spread. Let's talk Monday night, the first NFL game of November. You have the New York Giants traveling to Kansas City to take on whatever football team they put out there, but they're going to open as a 10-point favorite at home.
Now, I know the Giants are coming off a big 25-3 victory over the Panthers, but I think every team who is struggling needs to schedule the Giants so they can exercise some of those demons. And I think that's exactly what we're going to see from a really struggling KC team. The defense is in shambles, the offensive line is garbage, and Patrick Mahomes, his gunslinger mentality has turned to bonehead turnovers. I see that changing here with the Chiefs covering.
This is the one to get back on track. I agree for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Even though the Giants are coming off that good win against the Panthers, they are still, as we say here, the Giants. I'm going to ignore the rough loss to the Titans and say I still feel good about Kansas City in week 8.
If I had a special button that said upset of the week, I'd hit it right now, because I'm going to tell you right now, the Giants are going to cover the spread and potentially beat the Chiefs. Do I have any faith in the Giants? No. Do I have even less faith in the Chiefs? Yeah, you heard it here first. The Giants are going to upset the Chiefs this week, or at least cover that 10-point spread. As we've been doing the last couple of weeks, the 3 of us have our locks of the week. So this is the part that you want to watch. If you're looking for 3 locks of the week from each of us, it's our time to shine. Brandon, why don't you kick it off?
Well, I've got 3 locks here, and I'm taking the Bengals to cover against the Jets. I believe that's a 9.5-point spread there. I'm taking the Chiefs to cover against the Giants. That's my second lock. And the third lock, I've got those Cowboys over the Vikings by 2.5.
I'm going to take the Rams over the Texans, just big in general. Also the Bengals over the Jets. And I think it's just because it's the Texans and the Jets. But also, I will agree and say, I think I like the Cowboys over the Vikings as well.
I am liking the Bills 13.5-point here at home. I'm loving that Tennessee game, as I mentioned before. 1.5-point favorite on the road. And our unanimous lock of the week, even though we did agree on 3 other ones. So if you're skipped to this point, you need to go back and figure out those other 3 that we just did. But I'm going to go Dallas minus 2.5. So right there, they're agreeing on 2 out of the 3. You have at least a great pick 5 just from us. We can't thank you enough for watching this. We absolutely have a blast. This is week 8. Go ahead, tell them where they can find you again.
Brandon J. McDermott all over social media.
And Matt Brown, you can find me at the Ohana Jones.
Coolest Matt on the show. That's me. You can follow me or find me at Beard Laws. Can't thank you enough. We'll see you back here next week for week 9. Take care, everybody.